And welcome back, everyone. So I haven't done a video about Magic: The Gathering, a game I very much enjoy, and have at least a certain level of passion for, in a long time. I stopped doing set reviews. I stopped doing spoiler season videos because A, I didn't have enough viewers to really warrant it, and B, it was hard to kind of keep up with every new card that was coming out at the time. Someday, I would pick a point in the day to do a video, and okay, all the cards came out, and 5 more cards to drop that day. So I'd have to wait till the next day, and between that and work, I just couldn't do it, and so I just kind of stopped doing it. But every once in a while, I still dole one out, and yeah, I felt like the Spider-Man Universes Beyond set was actually a good spot to discuss. Not just Spider-Man Universes Beyond, but Universes Beyond as a whole, like a whole concept. So this is kind of what I think of the Avatar Last Airbender one, my predictions for the future, and what I think about as a concept. So to talk about this first, we really got to kind of figure out where this all started. Where did Universes Beyond actually start? Because for the longest time, it was just Magic. It was a fantasy world, all that. But then Wizards of the Coast, to gather more attention, money and all that, started to do more things. And I had to look back at what the first, let's call it Beyond thing, fan thing was. And we've had some minor things here or there, but the first real one we ended up getting was the Godzilla alternate stuff in Ikoria. Now, this isn't a true Universes Beyond. This was, you couldn't get packs of Godzilla cards. But during 2020, Ikoria is one of my favorite sets. I just love big meaty monsters, the idea of the evolution, the mutate mechanic, all that. I just it's very much a fun world to be in. Yeah, and then the promotion of Godzilla. Who doesn't love Godzilla? So, and I distinctly remember I was working during the pandemic, and so when the time came to that Ikoria was coming out, I went in hard on Ikoria. I think I got 2 commander decks, one for me and my girlfriend, a full-on booster box for myself, maybe some bundles, and a collector box. I went whole hog on it, baby. That's how much I enjoyed Ikoria. And because I'm like, okay, if I'm going to have a mutate deck, I'm going to have a mother effing mutate deck. And I do. I have a great mutate deck upstairs. But point being, this is where we start to see the non-Magic stuff come in. Because there's no Magic: The Gathering connectivity with Godzilla, really. So, and then we went on for a little bit with nothing. And then, but what I would say was the first true, quote-unquote, Universes Beyond was the Forgotten Realm set. Now, this is not Universes Beyond. It's not. But it's a non-canon, so story-wise, non-canon story in the Magic universe, based around an IP that's not Magic: The Gathering, but owned by Wizards of the Coast, that was standard legal, which is what Universes Beyond is now. By all accounts, this is the actual first Universes Beyond set. And I'll tell you right now, I loved this set when it came out. Didn't love every single aspect, but it felt as close to something like kind of more like Dominaria meets Zendikar a little bit. The adventure theme, but the generic, fantasy elements. It was a great set. Loved the Elder Dragons, Beyonders. It was a fun set. I love it. I still got cards to this day in some of my decks from it. I didn't get as much of it as I should have back in the day, but still, it was great. Really dug it. So this was kind of them testing, I think, the waters for the whole Universes Beyond. But beyond that, we didn't get a lot. And then we got things like the Doctor Who set, or Doctor Who Commander sets, the Fallout Commander sets, Warhammer. They started experimenting more and more with the whole idea of taking IPs and converting them into Magic cards. And then came the first legit one. Universes Beyond, Lord of the Rings. That was our first legit one. And now if you go on, if you were playing Arena at the time, and I do play Arena as well, I think I picked up maybe 1 pack of this because I'm going to be honest, among sets, among concepts, Lord of the Rings, I'm a perfectly decent little fan of Lord of the Rings. I like the Hobbit movies better than the Lord of the Rings, honestly. That's just my opinion, personal opinion. Not dissing the Lord of the Rings. But as like a playstyle concept, I didn't really care about the Lord of the Rings that much. But did well enough. People liked it, and I still see it in Historic all the time. But then we kept moving on. Then we got, and I know Assassin's Creed I think came out after this, but then we got our first standard legal Universes Beyond. And the rule change that the Universes Beyond sets would be included in the standard lineup with Final Fantasy, which is currently out right now. I definitely use some of the cards in this set. Can't say I don't. I definitely have Bahamut in my, and I didn't go out and really buy much of this set though. Again, it's not a IP that I'm like, yeah, awesome. I'm like, okay. So like, I really wish, like, we haven't hit an IP yet when it comes to the Universes Beyond sets yet. That I'm like, I need to go and buy a booster box of that. We have not hit that yet for me. Final Fantasy also, again, had Commander sets with it. It's got some good cards in it, definitely. I don't hate this at all, but this was the next one. And people really actually gravitated towards this one from what I understand. And so that segues all the way into Spider-Man. Now, I have been paying attention to all the spoilers, all the reveals for Spider-Man. And I can safely say that while I do not want to go out and get a full-on box of this set, I might get a bundle. Because, honestly, the web-slinging mechanic, I don't care that much about. There's definitely good Spider-Man cards out there, in terms of, like, the character Spider-Mans. I care a bit more about the villain mechanic, though I don't care about Mayhem. Obviously, like a lot of people, I want to get that freaking Soul Stone, which is going to tie into more of the predictions coming up. But there's definitely some chase cards in there. I definitely want to get my hands. Anti-Venom looks good. But how on earth? Because I know for a fact we're not going to see this character in any of the other Marvel sets. We know for a fact we're getting more Marvel sets. Don't know how many. How can you not put Null in a Spider-Man base set when you have Venom symbiotes? You have literally the Grendel Dragon symbiote as a card, which is directly to Null. Hell, you have a promo of, or a alternate art of Strix the Blight Dragon, who's Eddie King in Black. So how do you not make a Null card in this set? I don't know what it is about people dropping the ball on Null lately. Because Venom Last Dance, while I don't think they utilized Null badly, the fact is they just screwed up their universe so much, I knew I wasn't getting Null. I just knew I wasn't going to get him. And this is such a badass character and a cool character who I'd love to see a Magic card for, and they dropped the ball. And I checked. There isn't a Commander set for this thing. So if we could have maybe gotten him in a Commander set, that would have been cool, but no. So while I think this is a better set, or it's a more enticing set for me than, say, Final Fantasy, where I will actively go out and get some cards from it. It's like they dropped the ball on Null. I don't really care about the web slinging mechanic all that much, if I'm going to be real. So yeah, well, I definitely like and if I get enough cards, I'll try to make a villain deck. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, I'm just sort of, I like it. It's more step in the right direction for IPs. But By the way, there's also incidences where like they did The Walking Dead for like Secret Lair, but we're not dealing with that. So next up, toward the end of the year, we're getting Avatar: Last Airbender, Universes Beyond. For someone who loves Avatar the Assbender, Avatar, that's the XX parody, Avatar the Assbender, bending that ass. No, Avatar the Last Airbender. For someone who loves Avatar the Last Airbender, when I looked at like a lot of the stuff this set was bringing, I'm like, I'll be honest, except for like the air bending and the earth bending, I do not care about the water bending or the fire bending at all. There's definitely cards in this set I like that I might pick up a pack or two, but I'll be honest, I never once liked the ally mechanic at all. Like, it's one of the few deck types I've never tried to make. A, I don't have enough cards for it that are coherent with each other, but B, I don't care about it. It's just not a good mechanic, I think. I feel like they kind of dropped the ball a little bit with this one. Maybe not dropped the ball. I think lore-wise, they really did well in a lot of it, but yeah, no, I wish I liked it more than what we got, or at least what we're getting. And maybe maybe everyone else feels different. If they do, that's great, that's wonderful. But yeah, just not for me. So, with all that being said, what do I think some of the future Universes Beyonds are going to be? Well, we can already get a couple out of the way right now because we know for a fact that we're going to get more Marvel sets. The question just becomes, what is that set going to look? What are those sets going to look like? And we know at maximum probably how many more we're going to get. 5, because there are 5 more Infinity Stones that they're going to do. Because we have 1 Infinity Stone, and the idea, the best idea would be to do it 1 per set to make them, chase rares, all that. And again, that Soul Stone's really freaking powerful. Indestructible mono rock that once you harness it, you can just bring shit back from the grave constantly. Yeah, that's pretty damn good. But I gotta be honest, I don't think we're getting a full 5 more. And the reason I don't think that is because I've got 3 suggestions up here for things that can be straight out sets. You not only have to go with the theming of it, you do also have to go with a certain level of marketability. For example, I would love a street level set with street level heroes like Moon Knight, Daredevil, Blade, Luke Cage, maybe Iron Fist, all that kind of Defenders level, Kingpin, Bullseye, all that. But I don't know how attractive of a sell that would be. I'm not saying that isn't possible. I'm just saying in terms of selling cards and all that, I'm and then even if it's street level, you're still going to have to figure out how to bring out an Infinity Stone in there. So my more likely guess is this. 2 of these Marvel sets are going to have, I'm thinking there's maybe going to be about 3 more. 2 of them will have 2 more Infinity Stones in there. And then the last Infinity Stone with the gauntlet itself will be in there as well. That's what my prediction is. And for the sake of fun, I'll figure out which ones are going to be in which. So first up, I think an X-Men set makes complete sense. The X-Men roster is huge, both villain and hero. You can do a lot more unique characters. The power sets coming from them there's so much you can do with this. It's a no-brainer for a Marvel set. Which Infinity Stones do I think we'll see in this one? Let's see. Remaining ones we have are Mind, Power, Time, Reality, and Space. I could see Mind because of Jean Grey and Professor X. And maybe Power? Maybe Power. Yeah, I'll say Power. Yeah. So that would be my first guess. Then, surprisingly, believe it or not, Fantastic Four does have a big enough roster of characters, villain and subsequent heroes on there that you can do that, because you can also have multiple cards of the same character in these sets, that you could do a Fantastic Four one. I mean, see, because that also feels kind of a no-brainer because you can get Doctor Doom, you can do a Galactus, Silver Surfer, you can even go a little bit more cosmic side of things with an Ego, Skrulls, Super Skrull, Mole Man, what was it, Nihilus, I think it is. Obviously, Ben Graham, Reed Richards, Franklin Richards, Mole Man, and again, maybe some temp individuals who have been on the Fantastic Four team. Namor, you can be on there. There's a lot you can do with that. Absolutely. Now, I do think you could, in theory, just like I said, you could do a street level a hero kind of set. You could also do a cosmic level hero set with the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Nova Corps, the Kree, the Skrulls, Gladiator, again, Galactus, Thanos. Maybe that's where you introduce Thanos or something like that. I'm not saying that's impossible. In fact, that's probably even more likely is it more likely? I don't know. I just don't think it's, again, difficult from a marketing standpoint. But which Infinity Stones out of the remaining ones that I think could be here? Because I think I said Reality and think words here. Reality and, wow, I'm blanking. Reality and Mind, I think were the 2 I said for the X-Men set. Definitely space, movement of space definitely are big ones. And I'd say Power. That would make sense because of the sheer power of it. And then also we'll be getting like a straight Avengers set where you can have the crux of Marvel heroes who aren't affiliated with any other regular teams there. Because I mean, just look at this roster alone. Iron Man, with the amount of suits you can do, come on. Hulk, Captain America. Now, some of these cards do have some secret layer versions of them. I know Wolverine does. But again, we're talking about down the road for other characters. And we're talking about a full set. And obviously that would have the remaining time one in there where you can have Doctor Strange have the time, so like he does in the MCU. And maybe this is where you have Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, whatever. So I think if we're assuming we're not getting 5 more sets of Marvel, I think we're going to probably get 3, and I think, roughly speaking, those will be the ones we focus on. But if we're talking about Marvel, let's be honest, at some point there's also going to be a DC Universe one. Not Justice League set, mind you, just the DC Universe. And the Justice League themselves will be there. Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, like the cores will be there. I'm not saying Hawkgirl will be there, but she might be. But especially with James Gunn running DC, and he's a big nerd, he might even, I don't know if he plays Magic, he might. He'd be more than down probably to be like, yeah, let's do it, collab, come on. Collaboration. So yeah, he'd be more than down to do it. I have no doubt about that. And yeah, that if you're going to do Marvel, eventually you're going to do DC also. I think that's just logic right there, to be honest. But it's not just going to be comic books and comic book universes. Like there's also, to be frank, not much more you can go beyond comics. Yes, you could go with the with like say Image universe with like Invincible and stuff like that. But I don't think you are going to. 1 second here. If there's an image currently up here, I apologize. Oh no, I don't think it's up yet. But if it is, I'm just looking up an image for one thing I forgot to get. Okay, and then that one, is that the one I want? Yeah, that's the one I want. Okay, so anyway, obviously my next one for what I think we could be getting. But beyond like that, I'm like Dark Horse, Hellboy. I mean, don't get me wrong. Would I love to see a Hellboy based set? Hell yeah! Like a little mix of Innistrad meets honestly, no joke. Innistrad meets Duskmourn meets a little bit of think words here. Meets a little bit of like say Kamigawa, because Hellboy's been in Japan on multiple occasions. With a little bit of maybe like a European flair, or again, Innistrad maybe. So no, Hellboy would be great, but I don't think you could. You'd have to be doing this for a while to even consider Hellboy. But anyway, Pokemon. Look, I've seen fan-made ideas for Pokemon. I have. The problem is a Pokemon set. That's the best way to put it. A Pokemon set would be actually really difficult to do, because you have to figure out how to do the evolution mechanic properly. I feel like evolution would be a version of either mutate or augment, kind of stacked on each other a little bit, or meld, something, maybe not meld, but it's either mutate or augment from Unglued. No, Domino, no. She's just like, now it's like, hey, you're doing a video. Let me go and use the bathroom. And it's like, and to be fair, she doesn't want to necessarily go to use the bathroom at the moment. I know my dog very well. But yeah, and also there's over 1,000 Pokemon. There's not going to be that many in the set. So the idea of the set would then be, hypothetically, if it does well, do one for each generation. I'm not saying it's impossible. I have actually very little doubt they will probably try to do that at some point. But I don't think it'd be one of the likely ones to come out next year, because I think we get like 2 now a year or something like that. And then but one I can guarantee you, Mario and or Sonic. More than likely, though, you'd actually just because you could do either one of those worlds as a set. But what I think you'll really do is like a Super Smash Brothers, and that works out well too. That one actually makes a lot of sense, especially from a game perspective. I also think, thanks to Edge of Eternity, Star Wars is destined to happen. Definitely. We do not have we don't even have like a Star Wars we have Star Wars fan cards all the time. We don't have like a Star Wars even like minor product right now. So I think Star Wars, that's guaranteed to be on the table. But the worlds that can lend themselves to so much potential are anime. Anime has some of the largest potential for these sets, period. And they haven't really delved into that yet. And I mean, there's so many anime you can do, but if you're going to go with like popular, you got to go with Shonen Jump's big three. Now, you can still do like My Hero or something like that, but we're talking about One Piece. We're talking about Naruto. We're talking about Bleach. And let me tell you, as a Bleach fan, I would kill for this. Bleach is my favorite of the three. I would love a Bleach set. You want to talk about a set that I will say, shut up and take my money for? That's one of them. But if I'm going to be honest, even though its popularity is still on the rise thanks to the 1,000 Year Blood War arc, all that, in terms of zeitgeist, it is probably the least likely of the three. Not to say it wouldn't happen, it's just the least likely of the three. Of the three, One Piece arguably, there we go. One Piece arguably has the better stuff to go by. The idea of just having devil fruits as artifacts, food artifacts, that if you can sacrifice it, put, say, the low whatever, like the Gomu Gomu no Mi counter on it, and it gains all the abilities of the fruit. Like that, it's a tap, sack, and give all the abilities. That's exactly what it would be. And the fact that you could have God knows how many fruit in that set that you can do that with. I mean, but to be fair, then how do you justify the characters that already have the fruits? It's still got, I think, the most potential, but if you were to do one or the other over, personally, I think Naruto makes the most sense. It's still the one that's kind of just stayed consistent. Well, not stayed, it's got Boruto, all that. But there's, I think, the most potential, especially with like elemental releases, different techniques, summoning animals, ranks of like power, like the Kage stuff, tail beasts. There's a lot you can do with all three of these sets. I'm still trying to figure out how you would just do a Zanpakuto in Bleach for Magic the Gathering. Me and my girlfriend tried to do that, creating cards for these characters at one point. But I have a feeling you'd still just use the abilities of the Zanpakuto on the card itself. So regardless, but how do you justify Shikai and Bankai? Is that a level up mechanic? I don't know. But actually, you know what? Now I say it a lot. I think that's exactly how you might do it. You'd have, but it would just be two. It would just be two level up phases. That way you still save a lot of room on the card. And sometimes you would transform and all that. But yeah, Shikai would be one, and then Bankai does the other. And I'm sure it'd be a little bit of a variation on it. Either way, though, these are just the ones I speculate on for Universes Beyond. Let me know what you think about this. And what would you think would be the most likely stuff to come from Universes Beyond later in the future? Till then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Later.